Hello, this is Miss Anderson from the Arkansas National Guard's Human Resources Office. I am the Training and Development Specialist here at HRO. This is part of the new employee orientation course. I should have seen you when you came in to in process with us, but for this lesson, I just want to go over some of the things that we've already gone over during new employee orientation and just reiterate some of those resources that we gave you. So the first thing that I want to talk about is our Arkansas National Guard public page. And as we discussed during NEO, we have some resources here. So if you go to the home page here, you're going to go to HRO and Careers. And if you scroll down, you'll see a tab called New Employee Orientation. And these resources are set out for all of you that come into in process with us. We want to make sure that you have this for reference. You can reference all of these before you had your ID card. Probably the most important on here is the helpful links. This gave you links to everything. It'll also be in this lesson just to make sure that you have access to it. And we're just going to go over some of these things and remind you of what you are to use them for. The first thing that we're going to discuss is MyBiz. There are instructions on how to register for MyBiz right here on our public site. Once you're registered, though, you'll be able to get into MyBiz. This is what it should look like from your side. And there are a lot of different things that you can use MyBiz for. A lot of this is just kind of a snapshot of your benefits and what they look like. You want to make sure that as soon as you get registered for MyBiz, you go to this personal tab and make sure you update your work email address. And that's going to be important here in a moment when we go into your EOPF, which is your personnel file. So make sure that you do that. Another thing that you can use MyBiz for is to access any of your SF50s. And we discussed this during new employee orientation. A lot of times when you put in for a job or you need something, they're going to ask you for your latest SF50. And you can find that right here where it says SF50 personnel actions. And you're going to see every SF50 that you've had with us. You'll be able to view and print these as needed. And then we won't get into this right now, but remember that this is where you'll actually do your performance appraisals as well. You can go here to My Performance. Remember, probationary employees don't get an appraisal at the end of the year, but I would always stress that you try to do a performance plan to make sure that you know exactly what's expected of you during your new career. So that's where you would find that. And so that is just a snapshot of MyBiz. Like I said, when you went through MyBiz to do your personal email, you would need that to register for EOPF. And this is kind of what EOPF looks like for you. You'll be able to, once you register, you'll be able to log in with your CAC. You'll have a profile and things, but the most important thing is your personnel record for your federal employment. So everything that we do here at HRO that is relevant, it will end up in your EOPF. This is going to be important at the end of your career because once you get prepared for retirement, the people at ABCC go into your EOPF to verify all of your time, all of your pay, all of those important things. So you want to make sure that anything that's important is going into your EOPF. Speaking of ABCC, we've talked about going to ABCC. Let me move this out of the way. which is a good website that you can use for lots of resources. It's going to have a new employee benefits toolkit here that you can go into. I think Miss Jackson is normally the person that will send this email to you that talks about that toolkit. It's a really good resource for you. But the most important thing here is the GRB platform. It's going to have give you access to the GRB platform. You can also go to GRB Direct either way, but you want to make sure that you're going to the right GRB platform, which is the National Guard one, and you'll always get to it by going to ABCC. The GRB platform, once again, is used for a lot of things. So the first thing is resources. We have tons of resources on the GRB platform. We like to send people here before they start contacting HRO because most of the time you're going to be able to find your information here. As you can see, there are tons and tons of resources if you want to talk life insurance, retirement, your pay and leave. There are there's a lot of information here on this website. So we like to send people for these resources. One of the more important things that you're going to do on the GRB platform is decide your health insurance. Remember that you have 60 days from your start date to enroll in health insurance, not 61 days, 60 days. So you make sure that you do that in as far enough in advance. Otherwise, you're going to end up having to wait for the next open enrollment season, which is normally November timeframe. So anytime you go into the GRB platform, you'll be able to change your enrollment here. But the best thing about it, once again, are all these tools. You've got videos that talk about FEHB and all of the information that you may need to help you make your decision. You'll want to make sure that you change your enrollment here and follow the instructions. Going back to the home page, you will also use the GRB platform to sign up for life insurance. Remember that this is separate from your SGLI if you're in the military. This is your federal employment life insurance. It is based off of your salary most of the time. And depending on which option that you choose, it's fairly cheap. So it's really up to you, but just remember that unlike the health insurance, the life insurance doesn't have a lot of open enrollment seasons. So if you don't enroll within the first 60 days, you probably won't get an opportunity to enroll again in your career. You can also go here to look at the dental and vision insurance. You won't enroll for your dental and vision insurance here. You'll go to benefeds.gov. There's a link here, but same thing, you're always going to have links and resources and tools to help you decide what works best for you and your family. Flexible spending accounts, same thing. You're not going to be able to enroll here, but if you are interested in a flexible spending account, the resources are here and the link is here as well. We can talk retirement and Social Security, but that's kind of down the line. The last thing that's really important on the GRB platform is your thrift savings plan. This is where you're going to make your TSP contributions. Remember, this is where you decide how much you're going to be contributing, and then you're going to go to tsp.gov to change which funds you're going to be using. So same thing, always on the GRB platform, you're going to have tons of resources to help you make your decisions. But if you decide to make your enrollment changes, you're going to click change enrollment and follow the instructions there. Speaking of TSP, once you get paid for the first time, you'll be able to go to tsp.gov. If you haven't already been enrolled, you should be able to create your login account. If you already have an account on the military side, you won't need a new login, but once you get in, you'll have two separate accounts within this one login. I apologize. So remember Mr. Lauer went over TSP with you in pretty much a lot of depth and detail. This website is also going to have a lot of resources and tools that you can use, but the most important thing for the TSP.gov is to make sure that you know how to change your investments. You want to change your investments, you'll go to change investments. You'll decide if you're going to change your investment mix or move money in between. It's going to ask you if you're going to move money that's already there or only future money. You can do either. And then this is going to show you all of the funds that are available. Remember that when you initially enroll in TSP, they're going to put you in a life cycle fund that is as close to your 60th birthday as possible. So you'll have to come in here to change those if you don't want to stay within that life cycle fund. These are the rest of the funds, the G Fund, F, C, S, and I. We talked about these in depth and detail during orientation. If you want to change that, you'll go over here, put in your percentages that you want to change it to in any of these funds, and then you'll be able to continue. Once again, remember that you can click on all of these hyperlinks and it will pull up information on this fund itself, how it's been growing or not growing, depending. But go in here, research it, figure out what you want to do. It's your money and it's your contribution, so just make sure that you take hold of that. Okay, we are going to switch over to ATAPS. Remember, ATAPS is where you're going to put in your timesheets by the end of every pay period. So the website will be different for Army and Air, but from what I've been told, it looks the same once you get in. So there are a couple of things that you use this for. First of all, you're going to put in your leave requests with ATAPS. You would click on that. You'd do a new leave request. You would choose what type, put in the date, the hours from and to, and then you would be able to choose which certifier to notify. Mine is my supervisor, and so that's the one I would use. You would certify and submit. That request goes directly to your supervisor for approval or denial. I normally, you can do this a couple different ways, but I normally go into labor each pay period, and I've already set this one up. For instance, you have to put in your regular pay or pay dates. So I normally work 5/8, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And you can see that's already set up for this particular pay period. And for this pay period, the first is a holiday. So I needed to put in leave holiday. You can insert a row here and however many that you need in different types of statuses, but you want to make sure that all of your time is set here. So it comes out to 80. You can review this choosing this button here, which takes you to the other page, or you can go back to the home page and go to Labor and Leave Review and review it here. I hit OK, and now my timesheet is reviewed for this pay period, and now I'm only waiting for my supervisor to do their part. So that is just a overview of ATAPS and kind of how to use that. Make sure that you get with your supervisor if you have any other questions. And then the last resource that we'll discuss is MyPay. So if you are in the military or have been in the military, you are familiar with MyPay. For those who have never been in, we get paid by DFAS, who uses MyPay. If you've never done it, you'll need to make sure that you register with your ID card once you get that. Note that if you are a retiree or you're active in the military still, you will have more than one account. Your federal employment check will come from the Department of Defense account, and it's going to have your leave and earning statements. You'll be able to click printer friendly and have all of the information that's needed. But you would normally, as long as you have your notification set up, you will get notified via email that your LES or leave and earning statement is ready. Um, and that is all that I have for this lesson. Please let us know if you have any questions.